Have you ever wondered why some people seem energetic, focused, and healthy every single day? Well, the secret often starts with their morning routine. Good morning and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here because we're going to unpack something that truly has the power to change the
endlessly
trajectory.
energetic, laser-focused, and vibrantly healthy every single day. I mean, it can kind of feel like they have some secret superpower, right? But the truth is, the secret almost always starts the very moment they open their eyes. The choices you make in that crucial first hour of your day totally set the tone for your focus, your mood, and your energy levels for literally everything that follows. So here is our roadmap for achieving that optimal state. We're going to cover mastering your internal clock, fueling your body and brain, the science of morning movement, rewiring with gratitude, and finally, making those habits stick. Starting right off with Phase 1, mastering your internal clock through wake times and sunlight. Look, we've all been guilt-tripped into believing that hitting the snooze button is this terrible habit that totally ruins your sleep. But actually, recent research out of Stockholm University looked at the morning habits of over 1,700 individuals and found something pretty surprising. Snoozing doesn't actually have a negative effect on cortisol release, morning tiredness, or overall sleep quality. No way, right? While snoozing isn't necessarily harmful, the true secret to energy is waking up at the exact same time every single day. Even on weekends, if you try to keep your wake-up time within about an hour of your usual schedule, you'll perfectly regulate your internal clock.
To understand why that consistency matters so much, we have to look under the hood and check out the brain. Deep in your anterior hypothalamus is a tiny region called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN. Think of this as your body's master biological clock. It regulates all your mammalian circadian rhythms, constantly aligning your internal functions with the outside world. And how exactly does it pull this off? Primarily through light and dark patterns hitting your retina. This is exactly why getting 10 to 20 minutes of daylight exposure, ideally outdoors, within the first hour of waking is, without a doubt, the most absolutely crucial habit you can build.
And here's the really cool biological mechanism behind why that morning sunlight is such a game changer. When that natural morning light hits your eyes, it immediately suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals sleepiness. At the exact same time, it triggers a healthy spike in cortisol. Now, hold on, we often hear about cortisol as a bad stress hormone, right? But the cortisol awakening response is something entirely different. It happens about 30 minutes after waking, and it's a completely necessary healthy spike that primes your cardiovascular system, your metabolism, and your central nervous system to be totally alert and energetic for the day ahead. Moving on to Phase 2, fueling your body and brain with proper hydration and breakfast. Okay, before you even think about reaching for that cup of coffee, your very first action should be drinking a nice, big glass of water. Think about it. After sleeping for several hours, your body naturally becomes mildly dehydrated overnight. And this mild dehydration, it's exactly what makes you feel tired, foggy, and sometimes even hungrier than you really are. A simple glass of water jumpstarts your metabolism, wakes up your digestive system, and measurably improves your concentration first thing in the morning. Seriously, make this the absolute easiest win of your day. Once you're hydrated, we need to talk about food. There's this fascinating cross-sectional study from the Journal of Clinical and Diagnostic Research that looked at medical students and their breakfast habits. The data is just crystal clear here. Regular breakfast eaters, meaning those eating a healthy morning meal 6 to 7 days a week, scored significantly higher academic marks compared to irregular eaters and those who just skipped breakfast entirely. A balanced breakfast, one that's rich in protein and fiber, gives your brain the fuel it literally needs to think clearly, and it stabilizes your blood sugar so you don't crash and burn mid-morning. All right, Phase 3, the science of morning movement. Just 10 to 20 minutes to wake up those muscles. Now, when it comes to morning movement, the crucial takeaway is that you absolutely do not need an exhausting, intense workout every morning to get immense benefits. Actually, research published in Medical News Today compared high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, with just moderate exercise. While intense exercise does release a massive flood of endorphins, the study found this was actually just the brain's way of managing the negative feelings and physical pain of the extreme challenge. Crazy, right? In contrast, moderate exercise, like a simple 10-minute stretch, a brisk walk, or some light yoga, created genuine feelings of pleasure and euphoria, and that is what strongly promotes making exercise a sustainable daily habit. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Let's shift gears to Phase 4, rewiring with gratitude. Just 5 minutes for your mental health. I want you to really think about this number for a second. 26,000. That is the massive number of participants analyzed across 70 different scientific studies looking specifically at the effects of gratitude journaling. This isn't just some self-help fluff, guys. This is rigorous, hard data, proving that gratitude practices consistently and measurably reduce symptoms of depression, decrease anxiety, and massively improve overall life satisfaction. Let's look at the heavy science behind those numbers, because it's fascinating. Writing down 3 things you're thankful for every morning causes a synchronized activation across multiple brain regions. It measurably decreases the stress response in the hypothalamus, which lowers your cortisol. It strategically releases dopamine and serotonin right into your reward pathways, intrinsically motivating you to stay positive. And incredibly, longitudinal neuroimaging studies show that maintaining a daily gratitude practice for just 3 months literally increases the gray matter density in your prefrontal cortex. You're quite literally reshaping the physical architecture of your brain for resilience. And finally, phase 5, making these habits stick using planning and behavioral psychology. Look, to build a new routine, you can't just rely on sheer willpower. Willpower fades. You need structure. This 4-step behavior change framework is totally foundational to human psychology. First up, the cue. You make the habit obvious, like put your glass of water right on your nightstand the night before. Second, the craving. Make it attractive. Third, the response. Make it easy. Remember, we're talking just 10 minutes of moderate stretching, not a painful marathon. And fourth, the reward. Make it satisfying. Tracking your habits, or honestly just pausing for a second to acknowledge how good you feel, gives your brain the positive reinforcement it desperately needs to repeat the action again tomorrow. One of the most powerful tools you can use to implement this is called habit stacking. See, your brain already has these super strong neural pathways built for things you do every day automatically. By linking a new behavior to an old one, you essentially hijack those existing pathways. The formula is beautifully simple. After my current habit, I will do my new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Or after I brush my teeth, I'll stretch for 2 minutes. You're just anchoring the new to the old. It's a real game changer. So here's the bottom line. Healthy living doesn't happen overnight. It is the compound interest of small habits repeated every single day. So my challenge to you is to pick just one thing we talked about today. Will you get outside for 10 minutes of sunlight? Will you drink a glass of water first thing? Which small habit will you stack tomorrow morning? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this structure helps you build a healthier, more vibrant life. Start small, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next one.